Think of the person in your feed who never posts. You notice them. Part of you envies them. Here is what nobody tells you. That person is one of 5. This is the psychology of people who don't post on social media. Open your feed tonight and picture it as a corridor. Every account you follow is a doorway, and almost all the doors stand open. You can see straight in, the gym, the off-site, the newborn, the view from the plane. 20 minutes of looking, and you learn nothing you will still know tomorrow. Then you pass a door that has been shut for years. It belongs to someone you worked beside 4 years ago. No posts, no photos, a profile picture from another decade. Last spring you heard, secondhand, that he had built something big. And you were not surprised. Somehow, you had already assumed it. Notice what just happened there. You gave him a reputation, and he never posted a thing to earn it. Now the real question, who is actually behind that door? 5 completely different people, and from out here, they look identical. A sociologist worked out why, on a Scottish island, decades before the feed existed. In 1949, a young sociologist sailed to a small Scottish island. His name was Erving Goffman. He stayed for over a year. He was not there for the scenery. He came to watch people being watched. He noticed the islanders obeyed rules nobody had ever written down. When a neighbor dropped in, a cup of tea had to be offered. No crisis inside the house could excuse skipping it. Nobody had agreed to this rule. Everybody obeyed it. In 1959, he published what he found, and it still sounds rude. You are not being yourself in company. You are staging yourself. Every social world, he said, splits into 2 regions. The front stage, where the show runs, the dining room, the meeting, the feed. The backstage, where you prepare, the kitchen, the group chat, the drafts. And between the 2 stages, there is always a door. Goffman gave a name to keeping people on the far side of it: mystification. The mechanism is simple. The less people see of you, the more they imagine. So a shut door is not the absence of a performance, it is one. But knowing it is a performance does not tell you who the performer is. Behind identical shut doors stand 5 different people. Here is the map. The first keeps the door shut on purpose. Call this one the strategist. The second tried posting and could not find themselves in it. The averaged. The third posted something real once and paid for it. The burned. The fourth wants to open the door and cannot. The locked. And the fifth never thinks about the door at all. The free. 5 silences. 1 identical door. Nothing out here tells them apart. Silence is not a personality. It is a position, and 5 people are holding it. Start with the one you envy. The strategist is the one a Berlin sociologist described in 1906. That year, Georg Simmel published an essay on secrecy. Not the secrets of spies. Ordinary secrets, kept by ordinary people. His question: what does a secret do for the person who keeps it? His answer: a secret gives its owner an exceptional position. Not a better position, a rarer one. People pay attention to rare things. Because when people cannot see in, they guess. And they guess generously. You did it yourself. You built your colleague's empire out of 4 years of nothing. A real empire ran on the same trick. Someone wrote its manual in 1867. Walter Bagehot, editor of The Economist, published the English Constitution that year. By then, the British monarch had lost nearly every real power. What the crown still had was awe. And awe dies under close inspection. His warning became famous. We must not let in daylight upon magic. In plain words, the more people can check on you, the less impressive you become. The strategist does not need to be impressive, only hard to reach. That silence is real. It is also far rarer than you think. Before you admire every shut door, one researcher actually counted them. In 2006, the usability researcher Jakob Nielsen measured who creates anything online. He started with Wikipedia, an encyclopedia written entirely by volunteers. 32 million Americans read it. 68,000 actively wrote it. Nielsen wrote the pattern as a ratio: 90, 9, 1. 90% only watch. 9% add a little. 1% make nearly everything. Put 100 people in a room. One of them is doing the talking. So silence is not rare. Silence is the default setting of every crowd, which quietly ruins the story you told about your old colleague. 9 doors out of 10 were never strategy. They were just doors. The 4 interesting silences are hiding in that last 10th. The averaged one did try. What came back did not look like them. Goffman saw the reason half a century early. We do not just choose what to show, he said. We choose who gets to see it. He called it audience segregation. Your parents got one version of you. Your colleagues got another. The two never met. Then the feed arrived and pushed every audience into one room. Now one post must survive your mother, your boss, and someone you once dated. So you write the version that survives all 3. And the version that survives, everybody belongs to nobody. The feed never asked you to lie. It asked you to average yourself. The averaged read that average, could not find themselves in it, and stopped. The third silence is different. It can name the day it began. The burned are not quiet people. They went quiet, and they remember when. In 2012, Natalya Bazarova at Cornell measured what that day costs. She took one personal confession and changed a single thing: where it appeared. Version 1 was posted publicly, where anyone could see it. Version 2 was the same words, sent as a private message. Then she asked readers to judge the writer. The public version was judged less appropriate, and its writer was liked less. Same words, same person. Only the size of the room changed. In public, honesty reads as oversharing. In private, the same honesty reads as trust. If you ever posted something real at midnight, you have run this experiment. The replies were polite. Something in the air cooled anyway. The burned are not withholding. They learned the price and stopped paying it. The fourth silence is the one videos like this usually skip. Because some silence is not chosen, and pretending otherwise is flattery. In 2012, 2 Harvard researchers put people inside a brain scanner. Diana Tamir and Jason Mitchell asked them questions while it watched. Sometimes the questions were about other people, sometimes about themselves. Talking about themselves lit up the brain's reward system, the same circuitry that answers to food and money. Then the researchers attached prices. You could earn small amounts of cash for answering about someone else. People gave up the money to keep talking about themselves. In plain words, sharing yourself is chemically rewarding, and your brain insists on it, which means staying silent is never free. The locked decline that reward every single day, and not by choice. Some silence is a decision. Some silence is a room you cannot leave. And from the corridor, those 2 silences look exactly the same. One silence remains. It is the one people hope is theirs. The free one is the person the game never caught. In 1971, a psychologist named Edward Deci ran a quiet experiment. Students came in for 3 sessions and were handed a block puzzle. Halfway through, one group started earning $1 for every puzzle they solved. The other group was paid nothing. They just played. In every session, the experimenter left the room for 8 minutes. The students could do whatever they liked with that time. That gap was the real experiment. Nobody watching. Nothing required. The unpaid students went back to the puzzle for fun. The paid students, once the money stopped, mostly did not. Payment had quietly turned play into work. Deci spent the following decades asking what people actually need. He and Richard Ryan found 3 things: choosing freely, getting good, being close to people. Read that list again. Being seen is not on it. The free are not resisting the feed. They never signed its contract. The strategist guards the door. The free forgot the door exists. That completes the map. 5 silences behind one door. Now turn around. This was never really about them. You have been reading doors all your life, sorting, ranking, deciding who is impressive. Tonight, somebody scrolls past your door and does exactly the same. They cannot tell if your quiet is strategy or exhaustion or a bad month. So they guess. Then they forget they guessed. You are not being read. You are being invented by people with no information. Usually, the invention is generous. Simmel promised that much. But generous is not the same as free. Goffman had one more thing to say, and it is the uncomfortable part. You probably think the backstage is where the real you lives. That is the version people like. Goffman said the opposite. The kitchen has its own audience, the rest of the staff. The group chat has an audience. The drafts folder has an audience. Every backstage is simply a smaller front stage. And the strategist's beloved mystery? Simmel priced that too. Mystery is borrowed. The day people finally see you is the day the debt comes due. The longer nobody sees you, the more they expect when they do. Live on distance, and you cannot afford a single ordinary day in public. A poster survives a bad post. A mystery does not. So the door was never quite the choice you thought it was. Look again at the door you thought you were standing behind. If your own profile is the empty one, only one question matters. Which of the 5 are you? Nobody outside that door can answer it. If you chose strategy, remember the ratio. 90% of silence reads as nothing. Distance only pays when people already know you can deliver. So build one public place where the evidence is undeniable. Then stay quiet everywhere else. Silence is worth most at a distance. Keep the personal things for one person, never for everybody. And if the door feels locked rather than kept, noticing that is the beginning. Mystery is not made by hiding. It is made by having something to hide. And if your profile is full, this letter turns around. If you are the one out in the corridor, remember, you cannot read a door. The quiet you admire and the quiet you worry about are the same picture. That exceptional position Simmel described, you are the one handing it out. You furnish the empty room. You can also stop furnishing it. Next time, trade your question for a better one. Not, why don't they post? Instead, what did being seen cost them? Volume is free. Access is not. And the quietest person in your life may be the burned or the locked. Those two do not need an audience. They need one question from one person. Which leaves one last door in the corridor. Yours. The corridor was never a list of people. It was a row of doors. And a shut door was never an empty room or a full one. It was a decision. Now you know the 5 people who make it. Next time, why the most ambitious people you know cannot make themselves start.